Coming today, I'm telling you, it's a live feed coming to you this morning from Genesis Automotive on Highway 90 West in Defuniak Springs. We want to thank Polar Caps this morning for being our sponsor today, and Polar Caps has been our sponsor, and we want to thank them for supporting Hometown Mornings on TV24 on Bright House Cable 3. Today we're going to be talking about Lake Fest in Defuniak Springs and what's going on in Defuniak Springs. We're going to have with us today our mayor, Bob Camel. He will be with us, and also we're going to have our chamber representative, Miss Camille Cox, will be with us today. And we want to thank you for tuning in this morning. If you have any questions or comments, you can call the station, and their number there is 892-6202. And hey, he said don't call right now. We got all hands on deck. But you can call. What's the number down at the City Hall, Mayor?
It's 892-8500.
892-8500. They're not there right now either, so don't call them right now. We get up and go to work before they get out of bed, apparently. Now, if y'all don't think the mayor is live, he's here with us this morning, and we want to thank him for tuning in. Bob, we're going to have to get a little closer together here now. You know, we're going to act like brotherly love continues, you know. I think that's what one scripture says.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to Bob this morning about Lake Fest in Defuniak Springs, and that's a new event, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah, it's a new event. It's a little bit of a takeoff of the old Chautauqua Festival we used to have. A little bit different. The city teamed up with Hilltop Productions to help us to get this thing up and going, and so we've been wanting to have. I love the Chautauqua festivals, and this is not a duplicate, but it's to build upon what was already begun. Yeah.
So I was looking at some of the things that's going to be happening now. For years, when we was little boys, you and I know you're a lot older than I am, but when we were little boys, that we used to take swimming lessons and all down in Lake Defuniak, and we'd swim down there. But along came a ban on swimming in Lake Defuniak. Is this something that's coming back to the lake in downtown?
Well, we're not really introducing the swimming at this present time, but we are wanting to make everyone know that paddle boarding, kayaking, canoeing, you can still fish in boats out there, but with an electric motor. At this present time, we're still not having gasoline engines in the boat, and we've not introduced swimming back again. It's been conversation, but we're going to crawl before we walk.
I noticed that the real estate has shrunk in the lake yard here recently due to the fact that the water level has risen. I drove by there yesterday, and it was amazing to me how high the water level is in Lake Defuniak. And even on the northeast corner sector of the lake there, that there's water backed up in almost a holding pond, so to speak. It's amazing how high the lake is right now. There'll be plenty of water for all the activities if it continues, and it looks like it is.
Yeah, we did. We lost a lot of real estate so far, and I've been here since 1950, and that's the highest I have ever seen it.
When we talk about Lake Fest, you're going to kick off the day doing what that particular morning?
Well, early at 7 o'clock, the 5K run will begin over at the Chautauqua building.
Now, this is a walk run, isn't it?
There is a walk. There is a walk. There's something that'll fit all ages, all handicaps. We actually got a wheelchair division, and so anybody can come into it. There's a website. You can go to the city website, and you can register online. We're also going to have registration a week from today at 4C Barbecue, starting at 6 o'clock in the evening, and then you can register prior to the race at 6 o'clock Saturday the 21st.
Now that's 1 week from today.
1 week from today you can register at 4C. 1 week from tomorrow will be the actual race.
All right. So I was noticing some of the things that's on the agenda for the Lake Fest. Go through it a little bit. One thing that I noticed was paddle boarding, and I'll tell you what, I kind of want a motor on my boat when I get out there, but I've noticed that paddle boarding is something that's really a takeoff.
Yeah, it is. The enthusiasts, they love it. They're growing like crazy. We've actually got some paddleboard companies that on the south end of the county that are doing quite well. It's been real big in Destin, been real big all over the South, but they like the event at the lake. They generally have to race in a bayou or in the bay, and they have a lot of problems with some of that. But they're excited about coming to the lake and racing. Some of these guys are very professional, but they'll be also a novice level. So we're going to start off with a canoe. That'll be 2-person in a canoe. We do have some canoes that we're going to, in the registration, it'll be covered for 2 people. And then there's going to be a kayak race, will be a 1-person. And then there'll be the paddleboard, which will also be 1 person.
I was noticing last Saturday I was down in Destin, and we were there at the harbor and watched some of the boats come in, and I saw 2 guys down there. One of them was a very skilled paddleboard, and the other one, you could tell by the way he was kind of squatting down and bending them knees. He was a rookie on that thing, and it showed in just a little while because he was swimming instead of paddleboarding. And I'll think about this. My daughter, she said, "Dad, I got me a new paddleboard. I want to go check my paddleboard out." So I took my boat out and we went out to Lake Castee, and I run my boat and she done her paddleboarding thing. But it's something that's really a takeoff. I thought these were small boards, Bob, but these boards are 8 foot long.
Oh yeah,
12 foot long.
Yeah, they have them. I think they go up to 14 feet. The guys that are very serious racers.
Yeah.
And they'll be here Saturday the 21st. And so I'm excited. I think what it'll do is it'll enhance a lot of people to begin to use the lake. It's one of our natural resources. It's not only beautiful, but it's something we can really enjoy. And so we're hoping that this event will kind of stimulate people going back to using it, not abusing it, but using it. And so, and these guys, they're wanting to come back, even on paddleboard, believe it or not, want to come back and have fishing tournaments on our lake with like fly fishing.
I'll tell you, it's amazing. I fish a little bit when I have an opportunity. Haven't been since yesterday.
Yeah, so
but
sorry, you had to wait so long. Go ahead. The bummer.
But I've been noticing a lot of fly fishermen, and I was down at Aliquot one day, and a guy come by on a paddleboard with a reel in his hand, and I thought to myself, what in the world is a fellow doing on a paddleboard down here with a reel? And then I talked with Dewey Wilson, Dewey, and he was down there. He's got him one of these, you paddle it with your feet type boards, and he fishes off of that for various different kinds of fishing. And I'll tell you this, he did it for heart condition, to get his exercise in. That's what he told Vivian, but to get his exercise in. But this boarding and canoeing and stuff like this, the outboard motor is almost a thing of the past for some people.
Yeah. Well, this is just a mixture of enjoying nature and doing things that are healthy. It's just so it's a win-win situation.
There's going to be a kids fun zone going to open with that. What is that kids fun zone?
The fun zone, we're going to have a couple of slides set up. There'll be a fairly tall slide that I believe even adults can slide down. Then there'll be a smaller. I believe they have water running in them. And then the smaller slide for the little ones. And there'll also be a bouncy house. We have the Head Start program have come and helped us volunteer they've got all types of little things going on with the kids. There'll be face painting, there'll be storytelling. They're going to make little things. It'll be an all-day event for the kids. They're going to have, this thing's really going to compliment the kids. They're going to love this event.
Now, this storytelling you told, I know you don't have to teach the kid how to tell a story.
Well, I don't want to know the kind of stories I used to tell, but these are going to be a little bit more on the academic level.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're actually going to read stories or tell stories.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell about what we used to do.
That y'all used to do.
Yeah.
But in all of this, another thing that the kayak races that we have heard about and see different people in kayaks, and I've seen a store down in Niceville, I believe it is, for years. They've had a kayak store down there on that, what's the name of that highway it takes off to the right off of when you go into Fort Walton. Anyways,
talking about John Sims?
Yeah, well, turn up that way. There's a kayak store there, and you can spell kayak forward or backwards, and it all spells the same.
Lord,
you ever
I
thought
never
about that?
That's the way my name is.
Yeah,
Bob, B-O-B.
B-O. I didn't know Robert was spelled that way. But
you call me Robert, you're probably from up north somewhere. Bill Parkway.
That's there on Bill Parkway when you veer off going to Fort Walton. But the different thing is going to be, what is a lucky duck hunt?
The lucky duck hunt is that's something we came up with the last minute. It's going to be, there'll be 60 little rubber ducks. They'll be hidden in the lake yard throughout, and starting at 9:45 Saturday morning, we're going to release the people to go and search for those little ducks, and they will not be below the ground. You don't need your shovel. And now you might need Dad to reach up and grab one, because they can be as high as 8 feet high, like up in a tree or something. But anyway, there'll be 12 of those 60 ducks will be worth $50, and so they'll all be numbered. And what you'll do is you'll bring your duck to the registration desk, turn in your number, your contact information, and then at the time of the awards at 1 p.m., we will announce the winners and hand the $50 bills or the gift or whatever it is to the lucky winner.
Are these lucky duck contests now, is this for kids or adults or
It's
whoever?
for anybody that can pick one up, but it's only one per family. We don't want, we don't want one or two families to grab them all up. So what it's going to be is one per family, and then, but yeah, you can be 8 or 80.
Now, if the mayor went down there, or the mayor pro tem went down there and found a duck, would he be able to claim that, or is he prohibited from?
No, he won't be looking. He won't be looking. No.
You don't think Mr. Mayor or Mr. Mayor pro tem won't be down there looking?
None of our city officials come up with a duck.
If they do, we're gonna rig. Oh, hey. Well, on this particular event here, we're talking about an antique car classic. Now, we're gonna have a commercial here in a minute. But tell us about the antique car classic.
Well, the Hilltop Productions has kind of brought them in, but there's going to be several car clubs that are going to show up. Also, I understand the Gold Wing Club. Now, I know you Harley guys,
What is a Gold Wing?
Gold Wing.
Don't explain it.
It's one of them little old feathery, delicate motorcycles. But anyway, the antique car show.
Jap motorcycles, ain't it? Not made in USA.
The antique car show is going to be lined up there in front of the old depot. And of course, if we get an overrun, we're going to carry them all the way over in front of the Presbyterian Church. But they'll be up on the street, and that's where the judging and anybody wants to go and look at them, they'll be lined up there. There'll be some beautiful vehicles.
I wonder, I used to have an antique car before it burned up in my barn.
But it wasn't antique when you had it. It was antique now.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
When I had it, it was almost a new car, but now it's an antique. Antique cars go back, I forgot how many years, antique
25?
25 years maybe to get an antique tag. But anyway, there's going to be some old cars there, and I've noticed that a lot of cars are coming in that came along in our era that are now antiques, and
that's what I was trying to say.
I think
anything you had from high school days is antique.
Really?
Probably in your early marriage years.
Really? Boy, my wife's been married to a good guy to be with him all this long. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to thank Polar Caps this morning for being our sponsor here on TV24 on Hometown Mornings this morning. If you have any questions, you can call the number there that's on your screen at 850-834-5075. We do encourage you to get your pen and paper out and write this number down. You may not have a problem currently with your air conditioning and heating, but I'll tell you, there comes a time that you're going to need somebody, and you're going to say, what was that guy's name, and what was the name of that company that we saw Bob Campbell talking about on TV24? Well, it's Polar Caps. And Polar Caps in Defuniak Springs, our office is located in the Liberty community, but you can call them. Write this number down and put it by emergency items, because it may not be emergency today, but when your air conditioning goes out in the heat of the summer, it becomes an emergency item. So write down Polar Caps, air conditioning and heating. They're your Amana dealer here in Defuniak Springs area. They're at 850-834-5075, and you can call them. You can call on their cell number at 850-333-5255. 307-7217. So contact Polar Caps with all your needs. You may need a monthly contract or a biannual contract, and to come out and do maintenance on your unit to be sure that you're up and running. But I want to encourage you to be a part of Polar Caps and part of the Hometown Mornings today. We want to thank Mayor Camel for being with us today here from the Funiac Springs. Is there anything else you want to tell us about Lake Fest? It's happening next Saturday, Saturday the 21st. And what else? Anything else you want to add to it?
Well, there'll be some numerous vendors out there. We got a large lineup of vendors. We'll have live entertainment from 9:30, I believe it is, all the way through the end of the afternoon, and watermelon eating and seed spitting and Dunkin' booth, and we can get a few folks like you to come by and take a drop, you know. But there's a number of things going on, and of course we have our T-shirts. We're already selling T-shirts at Fisher's Pharmacy and Fort C Barbecue and City Hall. So if you want a T-shirt prior to the event, come see us. They're $12. And if you're a big old boy like me and your
little brother,
your best-looking brother, you might have to pay an extra $1. So.
Just $1 extra, or so you said.
Or so, you know, it's according to how big you are.
I do notice, for those of you who may be physically impaired and you want to do a historic tour, there's also going to be carriage drone.
That's correct. There. Yeah, there's going to be horse and buggy. There's going to be, I think they can fit 9 people on there, and there'll be a tour going around the Victorian homes, giving a history of, you know, where this. You know, who some of the earlier founders were, but anyway, it'll be a great time, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, I want to tell you that there's something for all people of all ages if they want to come out and participate. If you don't already have it planned on your calendar, plan on coming to the first annual Lake Fest in the Funiac Springs. There used to be boat races out there. I'm talking about power boats. Now those are out right now, aren't they?
Yeah.
No such power boats.
Yeah, I think
that was a catastrophe waiting to happen, wasn't it?
What was the Miller gentleman from Freeport? First lap, he rolled his boat out there, and so that kind of went sour right to start with.
Well, we're glad that the paddle boards have taken on the scene. I want to thank Mayor Campbell for being with us today and telling us a little bit about Lake Fest. We have a tentative schedule of events planned, and it begins early in the morning. It begins at 6 o'clock on the walk-run registration, and the 5K walk-run will begin at 7 o'clock. So if you're into that, first walk-run I ever went to was in Germany. And I never heard of a 5K because we didn't know what kilometers was at the time. If you're wondering what, you know, a lot of people go, what does 5K mean? That's 5 kilometers. And 5 kilometers is how many in American standards, Bob?
3.1 miles.
3.1
You thought you were going to catch me off guard, didn't you?
Hey, well, you know, you never know. There's a wealth of knowledge between those two ears right there. I'm telling you, I want y'all to look, folks.
1.6. Kilometers per mile.
1.6. Yeah, I used
to show off a little bit.
I used to know that when I was running 100 kilometers, I was going 61 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness!
And I would be driving down there Audubon over there.
That was typically when you were pulling up to a real steep curve or something.
Yeah, but I remember going down that Audubon over there running 80 and 90 miles an hour, and you'd see the lights flashing in your rear view mirror, and somebody's fixing to pass you because there was no speed limit at the time. I don't know if it still is or not, but those little BMWs and the Mercedes-Benz, they would just blow your doors off when they come by. But that European metric system, or just the metric system in as a whole, is something new to us. Back when we were in high school, which was decades ago, I mean a lot of decades for some of you, they were trying to introduce that metric system back then, and it just really didn't catch on for us. It's kind of like introduced computers to me, and it's kind of hard to do. But anyway, the metric system, and if you can go on this 5K run, that's not 5 miles, but that's 5 kilometers, and they'll be making that round around. Is it going to be around the lake yard itself?
It'll start at the lake. It'll go around the south end of the town, and then out, park that goes by the funeral home, up to 13th Street, back up to Live Oak, and then back to the
Okay, so it's going to be in the confines, you might say, almost like part of the historic district.
Right.
But it's not going to go out as far as 331 to impair
No.
anybody and have hazardous walking.
No, and there'll be emergency vehicles in front of and behind to make sure that it stays safe.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that, and we want to thank Mayor Campbell for coming in here with us today also, and we got another guest that's going to be coming in here in a minute, and Bob.
Yeah, we wait the best for last.
I'm telling you, she sure looks a lot better than my current guest, host and guest.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope you don't have any problem getting a ticket or anything on your way home.
Me too.
Yeah. Boy, y'all heard what he said about me,
Hey, we want to thank Mayor Campbell for being here with us today, and we want to thank Genesis Automotive. This is where we're coming to you live this morning from Genesis Automotive. If you've heard these vehicles in the background, it's just traffic going down Highway 90 here in Defuniak Springs. Genesis Automotive is right across from the Prescription Place and right next door to Ed's Restaurant. So we want to thank Genesis Automotive for hosting. Did I call her Camille Cox a while ago?
Yeah, you did.
Well, we want to thank. We'll go introduce her as Camille Burleson in just a minute. We got a sideline. We had a teleprompter show us that Camille's name was not Cox, but it is Cox Burleson. But we want to thank Genesis Automotive for being on the scene here with us today. We're going to spotlight a couple of their vehicles as you see here today. I noticed around the corner that they had a Corvette here, and you may want to purchase that. But we're right next door to Ed's Restaurant here in Defuniak Springs, and we're talking this morning about Lake Fest. It's going to be coming to you next week, and it's going to be the 21st of June, which is next Saturday. But today, you can come out to Genesis Automotive and pick up a new vehicle. They have them from a variety of price ranges, and they're coming to you here today. We want to thank Polar Caps for hosting our program, for sponsoring our program here today on TV24 and Bright House Cable 3. We want to thank Camille Cox. Now, she's Camille Cox. She got married here a while back. How long have you been married, Camille?
2 years.
2 years. But she knew who I was talking about when I said Camille Cox.
Did.
And somebody else had a birthday recently. Let's sing happy birthday to them. Go ahead.
I don't think you want me to sing.
Oh, whose birthday was it?
Mom's, Jane Cox.
Cox. I knew that Cox name coming there somewhere. Jane Cox had a birthday. Call her. You want to give them her telephone number?
I better not.
Oh, okay. Well, if you know Jane, call Jane and wish her a happy birthday. That was when yesterday.
Yeah, the big 6-0.
Oh, we wasn't going to tell everybody she was 60. Don't tell everybody she was 60 years old. Because Jane certainly doesn't look that old.
No.
As I get older, 60 looks a lot younger.
She looks pretty good for raising 5 kids.
She's always looked pretty good. But I'll tell you what, we winning points with your mom. Is she watching this by chance?
I don't know.
Oh, Jane, Camille was here with us a few weeks ago representing the Chamber of Commerce, and she's here today not only with the Chamber of Commerce, she's going to share with us a little bit additionally about Lake Fest, Camille Burleson. And you can contact Camille. Give them your phone number if they want to date with you.
You can reach me at 267-0683. That's our chamber office in Santa Rosa Beach. Or you can contact me at our Defuniak Springs office at 892-3191. I go in between the two offices. So
that date that I'm referring to will probably be during business hours, wouldn't it?
Yes, during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
All right. But Jane, I'm going to have to get Jane off my mind here. Jane is tattooed in there. And,
you've got her on the mind
I'm telling you, 60 years old. But I'm not telling everybody that. Yesterday was her birthday. Call her and tell her happy birthday. But Camille this morning is here with us, and she's going to be talking a little bit about the Chamber's involvement with Lake Fest. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we were happy to see we jumped on board with Mayor Campbell. We think this is a great event for the city of Defuniak, and as you know, the chamber, we're always looking for ways to be involved and support the community, and especially the business community. And we think this is just a great way to support the businesses downtown and bring, potentially bring tourism and overnight guests to the city of Defuniak. And I think this is really an event that could grow into more than just a one-day event and potentially bring those overnight guests here. So, we were just happy and eager to jump on board and support this. So we're excited to be a part of it, and we're helping a lot with media and promotion of the event, as well as, I'm on the planning committee and helping with the kids events and sponsorships and just a little bit of everything. So,
well, I was noticing, Mary, hand me that list you had a while ago of events. He lays and don't want nobody to know he was reading this off of a script. He didn't want us to see it, but Bob will do you that way. I'm telling you, just tell how old you was and everything else. We don't do that kind of thing here on Hometown Mornings, but Bob just let everybody know he was an antique. He's sitting over in the grandpa chair right now, maybe great-grandpa, but anyway, Camille, I was noticing that there's a host of people going to be represented there. Are any advertisers going to be there? I know that paddle boards is something that's taken off. Are you going to have anybody outside our area coming in to display some of their paddle boards or anything?
Well, we've contacted YOLO boards, boat board, and Guzu, all of which are located in South Walton, and all three of them have the opportunity to come up and display their boards, and I believe all three of them are going to be sending paddlers up for the races. And Mayor, you'll have to correct me. Are they going to have a display?
The plan is for one kayak and two paddle boat companies to be there.
Okay, but they all had the opportunity. It is their busy season, so I think they all wanted to be a part of it. They're just trying to make sure that they have their stores covered, and but they are all sending paddlers up, which we're very happy about. So they're going to be here. We have, as the mayor said, a company that's going to be displaying their kayaks, and so they'll be here. And do we have is the pontoon guy going to come?
I did not speak to him.
Okay. So I think that's going to be it for the the water sports stuff.
My daughter, Frankie, she brought a boat paddle board to the house here a while back, and I didn't ask her how much it cost because I didn't really want to know. But she told me anyway, and I said, well, that's not bad. I pay more than that for fish bait sometimes in the course of a year. But I want to tell you that it's a sport or a hobby that is very affordable.
It is.
And it's an outing that quite possibly more people will get into once they see. I did notice, I was telling Mayor Campbell a while ago that I saw these two guys down in the Destin Harbor paddle boarding. One of them was on a professional board, and I noticed his board was not as wide as this other guy who was he needed a boat, this other guy did. I'm not talking about a BOTE paddle board, but he needed a boat with a motor on it. But he did manage to get out away from the dock there before he fell. But it's something that's taking off pretty well. This paddle boarding is, and canoeing and kayaking and fishing from kayaks. It's amazing how many people that you'll see on these things, and I'm glad that it's coming to Defuniak Springs and to be a part of our Lake Fest to just see what all's going to be going on there. What else is the Chamber doing in regard to the Lake Fest, or not necessarily Lake Fest, but whatever else you may want to talk about this morning?
In regards to Lake Fest, one of the things that I'm most excited about is the kids area. Growing up in Defuniak, I remember the Chautauqua Festival, and we would go down and we spent the day in the lake yard. It was huge. It was a full day event, and so I'm happy to see that element coming back, and I hope that families will take advantage of this. the Walton County Sheriff's Office stepped up. Sheriff Mike Adkisson is sponsoring the kids area, and it'll be free of cost to the families. The water slides and the bounce house will be. So parents or grandparents, bring your kids out. Make sure that they have swimsuits, sunscreen, towels, and bring them out and let them play on the water slides and the bounce house. And then we've got Coastal Skin and Surgery Center. They're going to have a table giving away sunscreen there for the day. We've got Tri-County Head Start has stepped up, and they're doing our kids activity. And I've pulled up the calendar here so we could look at that. They're going to do painting a garden, and they're doing story time with the rainbow fish, where kids can decorate their own fish and create shell critters. They're going to make butterflies, and then do another story time with the Very Hungry Caterpillar, where they create artwork to illustrate the story. And then their ongoing activities are going to include sidewalk chalk creations, face painting, fun with bubbles, beanbag toss, hula hoops, and they're going to have the Ask program, where for Asking Saves Kids. So that's just a little glimpse of what the children's activities are going to be. But as you can see just from talking about that little bit, how the community's really stepped up to partner throughout this event to make sure that it's a great day for the kids, and that it's the majority of it's going to be at no cost. So I'm just really excited about it, and hope that the community will come out and support it and enjoy it, because everyone's really stepping up.
One thing I have noticed about our area, and you see a lot of it on TV and different things about kids that are from single parent families, but our community overall, the city and our county, the sheriff's department, the city police, the mayor, and the community here are really taking a interest in our children.
I think so.
I noticed at the Kiwanis Club for years now, they've sponsored Take a Kid Fishing. I can't remember what day that's happening. Anybody around here know what day the Kiwanis Take a Kid Fishing Day is, and when it? But anyway, that happens, and they stock the area. They'll line off an area of the lake yard down there behind the Chautauqua and around by that dock, and they won't let anybody fish in that area. And they'll bait those fish up, and they'll bring fish in and restock Lake Defuniak with fish and feed them in that area, so that those kids, some of them has never caught a fish in their life, but they have an opportunity to catch fish and display this. One of the pictures that I remember seeing hanging up in my parents' home was my nephew, that he was standing there by my dad's pond with a fish in his hand like this, and a little fish hanging down, and my dad, his granddad, was kneeling down beside him, and that's a precious photo. And sometimes that may be the very first fish that a kid has, but our community has stepped up to being actively participating in the lives of our children. And I was reading a book, and it talked about us taking care of widows and orphans. And those widows and those orphans maybe not necessarily be a total outcast or left by the wayside, but it could have come from it's hard for a mom who's a single parent sometimes to take their kid fishing, but I'm glad that the Kiwanis Club has stepped up to that particular thing, and our community is getting actively involved not only in that, but here a while back we had Mr. Tom Baker on with the Boys Club, and he and Corey Godwin have taken a vital role in getting our boys and boys clubs up, and girls clubs too, isn't it?
They're going to be part of the event. The Boys and Girls Club is going to be manning the dunking booth for us, and they're going to have so they might be contacting you to see if you want to sit in the dunking booth for a little bit that day.
I heard a fella say something outrageous like that just a few minutes ago. They probably wouldn't have anybody wanting to wet me and dunk me, but
they're gonna have the dunking booth there. That's just another thing that's gonna be there throughout the day. So we've really tried to partner with different organizations throughout the community and let them step up and kind of have part in the event. So the Boys and Girls Club's gonna have the dunking booth there, and so they'll have some of their representatives there as well.
This is a charged event when they pay to dunk. Is it all free?
Well, no, there will be. They'll probably have to pay something to dunk, yes.
Yeah, if you get up there and you up there with evil spirit about you wanting to wet somebody. You don't have to pay to wet somebody. I remember back years ago when the dunking booth was out at the fair, when Mayor Camel was a little young man, a little boy back in high school back in the early 30s, that they had a dunking booth out there, and our fair come along in the wintertime.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, it was cold sometimes in October. Yeah. I'm talking about real cool, and they was just wanting to dunk some of these guys, and it was a big success, and that's happened throughout a lot of communities. I remember I built a dunking booth and donated it to the Ponce de Leon community, and they're still using that dunking booth today, and that's been 20 years ago. But it's something that's very catching, so if you want to nominate somebody to sit on that bench in the dunking booth, they can contact Mayor Camel or Camille Burleson. I'm about to call you Cox again. You can contact Mayor Camel or Camille Burleson, and if you want to put somebody in that dunking booth, if you'll call, they'll see if they can't get them to sit in that dunking booth, and you can throw at them all you want to. You might be wanting to sling mud at people, but you can sling baseballs at these people and try to get them wet for a good cause. The Boys and Girls Club's going to be sponsoring this.
Boys and Girls Club will be set up with the dunking booth, and then another addition to the event is Walton Outdoors is going to be set up. So in addition to the kids area with the water slides and the bounce house, and then the kids arts and crafts area, we're going to have Walton Outdoors set up with a couple of their animals there. So that'll be another thing for people to walk through and experience. It's going to be kind of a natural exhibit. And I don't know exactly what all it's going to entail, but I know it will be teaching the parents and children, adults and kids alike, about nature, wildlife, and the mayor wrote me a note that said he thinks that the kids fishing in the lake yard is in October.
That's an additional event.
Oh, it's additional.
That's an additional besides the Kiwanis event of Take a Kid Fishing. Tell us a little bit, this is kind of free ads, tell us a little bit about Walden Outdoors, who they are, where they're at, and what their objective is in their...
Well, from what I understand, I'm just learning about Lori and a lot about her involvement, but it's an amazing organization, and their main goal and objective is to teach people about Walton's outdoors and the natural resources that we have here in Walton County. And so they came on board and want to partner with us because it is an outdoor event highlighting Lake Defuniak and the natural resources that we have here. They partner with, they've partnered with Live Oak Landing several times in the past to have events there. But what they do is they come to different events and they set up and they bring in other companies or maybe other nonprofit organizations and do education on natural resources and I guess conservation type information. Is that correct? Okay.
Walden Outdoors, where are they located? Oh, Lord.
Is it Santa Rosa Beach? Is that,
yes.
Do they have an office? I don't know that she actually has an office, does she?
I think she's got a home office.
Yeah, I think it's a home office.
I mentioned a while ago that there was a wealth of knowledge between those two ears. Put that camera on that wealth of knowledge over there.
Oh,
they have a great Facebook page, I know that. But I think it's a home office.
There's that wealth of knowledge. Every time we have a question, we just look over at the mayor, and I'm telling you, he's full of it. He's over there in the great-grandpa chair right now. But Walden Outdoors in Santa Rosa Beach. So
and Lori Sear is executive director or founder of Walton Outdoors. And they have a great Facebook page. I don't believe they have a brick and mortar office building. I believe she just functions out of her home, but they do have a great presence in social media and on the web. So if you haven't already, check them out on Facebook. They have a great presence there.
Well, we want to go back to not only Walden Outdoors. There's a lot happening in our community and a lot happening with our kids and our children in our communities. And want to address just for a moment the single parents out there, that you moms, sometimes by the time the weekend comes, that you're just worn out. And you may want to don't come by and drop your kids off at Lake Fest, but come and let them be an active part of Lake Fest. It'll be a good outing for you, and it's cost-free. It's very economical because it's free. Most everything out there will be free. And you can bring your kids to Lake Fest, and we're really looking forward to Lake Fest and being a big success. And it'll be an annual event.
Yes.
But there's going to be live demonstrations and exhibits out there. What all kind of exhibits or demonstrations? I know I had a fishing it was a wild game dinner up where I go to church, and we had a lot of different demonstrations up there. And one of them was how to throw a cast net, and one of them was how to had a guy there demonstrating what fly fishing was all about and giving tips like that. What other kind of demonstrations are going to be there in the lake yard?
Yeah, we're going to have, of course, the water races, but then we're going to have a guy that does, he's going to do a fly fishing demonstration, and so we'll have that. And then we've got 38 vendors coming. So like you're talking about, for the parents that want to come and their kids want to play on the water slides, they'll be able to come and maybe go listen to the music some and then walk through the vendors while their kids are entertained on the water slides and in the kids areas. But then the demonstrations, our main entertainment's going to be the bands that are playing, the singers, and then we will have the fly fishing demonstration on the water.
Do you, by chance, can you recall what type bands or singers will be there?
Well, I think we're going to have a little mix. We're trying to mix it up a little bit, a little country, a little calypso, maybe some bluegrass type music.
Well, I'll tell you, Hank Williams won't be there, but some of his songs will probably be represented. We do want to thank Camille for being with us today, along with Mayor Campbell, and being a part of Hometown Mornings here on TV24 and Bright House Cable 3. We're going to be bringing in Vern here with us in just a minute from Polar Caps, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what all they have available, or some of the things that they have available there at Polar Caps in Defuniak Springs. Their phone number is 834-5075, and we want to thank Vern for being here and being a part of Hometown Mornings. Tell us a little bit about Polar Caps, Vern.
Polar Caps has been in business since 1999 here in Defuniak Springs. If you're part of Polar Caps and you call us for an estimate and we sell your job, you become a family. I've come on with Polar Cap in sales and public relations, and I've been calling the customers that we've done work for in the past 10 years, excuse me, and they're just overwhelmed. It's like family. I can't get them off the phone. So why don't you call up and become part of the family? We have a service contract. We service your air conditioning that's existing for $129.95. That starts up your unit in the beginning of the summer and in the beginning of the winter. And if we have any type of summer this year like we had in the winter, you're going to need some help. So give us a call at 834-5075. Okay, my name is Vern, and I handle sales. So if you give us a call, we'll be out there to give you an estimate at no charge and solve your problems with the heat.
That's at Polar Caps in Defuniak Springs and Liberty area and Liberty community here. We want to thank Vern for being here with us today with Polar Caps, and Paul. Paul is the owner and operator of Polar Caps, and he's been with us since 1999.
One thing Paul does is Paul goes out and does the installations. Therefore, you're not put off to somebody else. Paul wants to make sure his customers get what they pay for.
All right. Well, we want to thank Polar Caps for being our sponsor here today. And tell us a little bit about maybe financing the units that's there.
Well, Paul has put together a dealership with a major finance company in the United States with a payment of 1% on your installation. So in other words, if the job runs $6,000, your payments for a year are only $60. So it's hard to beat. And then it's an open-end contract. It goes to 1.5% the next year, and you just pay 1.5% until it's paid.
On that particular contract, the main unit that y'all put in is from Amana. What type of warranty does Amana offer?
Warranty by Mamana is 10 years. Okay, that's on all the equipment. And on if you get to a 14 SEER, now there's different ratings in air conditioning, 13, 14, 15. The higher the SEER, the longer, the better the energy. But at least a 14 SEER with a Mamana, you get a compressor guarantee, which means it's life on compressor. If the compressor goes out in 20 years, they'll replace it.
So I remembered in previous advertisement about a lifetime warranty, and I believe Paul told us that if that unit goes bad, they don't just come out and fix it, but they replace it.
Right.
And it's a replacement warranty on that thing. So you have a good contract through Amana, and you have a good contract through Polar Caps. We want to thank them for being our sponsor here on Hometown Mornings today, and I want to thank them for being a continued sponsor. And we want to thank Genesis Automotive today for being our host business today. We have shown some of the vehicles around here. I noticed that they had a Tundra, Toyota Tundra up here, and it had Guff Communications wrote on the side of it. I don't think that truck's for sale. I believe that truck may belong to the mayor. And we just want to give a little plug for Guff Communications too. And this morning on our program, Bob is not only is he the mayor of Defuniak Springs, but he's also a businessman in our local area. And we want to encourage you to shop locally and do business with them. And Bob says, don't advertise for me. But he said, I got more business than I can shake a stick at now. But anyway, we want to thank you for watching TV24 and Hometown Mornings today, coming to you live from Genesis Automotive. A rebroadcast will be this week to remind each of you about Lake Fest in Defuniak Springs. And we want to, one more time, we want to bring Vern on for one last moment of advertisement. Vern?
Yeah, if you'll check in your Herald, your local Herald paper, there's a quarter-page ad in there regarding air conditioning installation with financing. So if you'll tie us to the newspaper, that's Polar Caps Air Conditioning and Heating. And we're looking forward to your call.
All right, we want to thank Vern for being here with us today from Polar Caps, and we want to thank Genesis Automotive for having this particular place here today for us to have this live broadcast. We've had a lot of traffic. We don't want to apologize for any traffic going up and down making noise, because that just shows a sign of progress in Defuniak Springs, and we like to hear those cars. I can remember, Bob, that when we were boys, there's more cars past this highway right now this morning in this hour than what we saw in a week in Defuniak.
Yeah, that's true. And we didn't have I-10 back then.
Yeah, that's true. You know, Bob can remember back when I-10 wasn't here.
Oh, yeah. I helped build I-10 right through Defuniak.
Oh, I remember for years that Interstate 10 was at a stop out at Mossy Head, where the new truck stop and all Love's truck stops coming in out there, that they used to get off there and they'd come through here on Highway 90. And every now and then, I'll be driving over from Ponce de Leon, and I can see a lot of vehicles on Highway 90, and I'll know that they've had an accident on the interstate because they've rerouted that particular traffic.
Yeah.
But here, when they opened up I-10, you would have thought that the traffic had cut down, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of traffic in Defuniak.
There is. There really is.
I've noticed that the city police show a visibility here on our area to try to slow some of the traffic down, because if you didn't slow some of the traffic down, I'll tell you, it would be a racetrack around here. This would be a racetrack road right through here. But we are here today, and we're thankful for Mayor Campbell for being here, a local businessman as well as the mayor, and also a vital part in his church out where he attends and worships. And we want to thank him for being an active part in our community. Sometimes people just want to find nothing but bad to say about people, but Bob has a heart for Defuniak Springs and the local area, and we want to thank him for being a part of our community and being a part of our area. Grew up here in Defuniak Springs and has decided to make this his home for life, just this side of heaven. So we want to thank him for being here. We're going to ask him a little bit more about Lake Fest. This is a topic of our discussions for today. is Lake Fest and the things that's come in. I'm telling you, we had the Panhandle Opry on here, old Gordon Porter, one Friday morning, and he talked about some stuff. It was way before our time. Gordon's a lot older than we are.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit more about Lake Fest, Bob.
Well, you mentioned earlier that we learned to swim in Lake Funiac. I learned to swim there when I was 4 years old, believe it or not. Learned to water ski there when I was 12 years old. But it was very good to me, and I just I want to see that lake being utilized, not brutalized, but utilized, and it's a great asset. It's a gorgeous place, and so I'm hoping that we can open this thing up for all to enjoy, and it'll be kind to those that live around it as well as those who come to visit. But I wanted to also mention to you, with all the activities we're going to have in the lake, we will have officers out there on boats for safety. We'll have all sides covered. We're going to have numerous officers helping with the traffic and that type of thing. As far as your children being involved in the children activities, with the slides, Harold Shover with the Boy Scouts, he's also with the Walton County Sheriff's Department. He's going to be overseeing that. He's got volunteers coming to help to keep order there and to make sure no one gets hurt. And anyway, we got volunteers that have stepped up. Miss Bowers, our city manager, has managed to get a large group of volunteers. We're going to try and handle everything to where it will flow very well that day and very safe that day. So we're definitely safety conscious in this event.
One thing that, we've talked about Boys and Girls Clubs, and we've talked about the Kiwanis Club. We haven't talked about the Boy Scouts, and we hope to have them on the program one day and tell you a little bit more about Boy Scouts. But Harold Shover, like you say, he's with the Sheriff's Department, and he's been a very vital role there at the Sheriff's Department also. And what particular role does he play with the Boy Scouts? Are you familiar with that wealth of knowledge?
Well, I just know that his son is an Eagle Scout, and they had a large what is it, F-33 we got out here, the jet?
It's a jet.
At the airport. It's been a kind of icon for our airport for many, many years. And they've taken on the project to restore it and the whole facility, and they're going to repaint everything, and they've just been a real blessing to the city.
I know that you mentioned that jet out there, and you see over in the Pensacola area the jets that's on the interstate out there, the Blue Angels from Pensacola and different things. I know my son, he's an air traffic controller, and he'll look up in the sky. Everybody talks about their work. He'll look up and he'll see a plane fly over, and he'll tell me what kind of plane it was, and different things that he learned these things not only as air traffic controller, but when he was in the Air Force as well. But there's a lot of things happening around here, and the renovation of certain things like this jet. Mm-hmm. You might think, well, that's not very much interest, but when they get that thing repainted, mm-hmm. and it'll shine, I'll tell you, it's something that also keeps the boys active.
Right.
And it's important that we keep our children, our youth, active in things, good, wholesome things, and maybe tell a little bit about that jet that's on display out there. And I know up in Fort Rooker area that they have helicopters up there, because that's the largest training base for helicopters in the military, and is right there in Fort Rooker, Alabama. And we want to thank Mayor Campbell for being here with us and telling us a little bit more and interjecting things like the Boy Scouts of America, and they went through some heated arguments here with some of our social media and our media here a while back, but because of some of the stance that they've taken. But I want to tell you, the Boys Club is a vital part of the community in our area and our community, and we want to thank them for taking an active role in participating in Lake Fest.
Absolutely.
Anybody else that we might have forgot, or are we going to forget somebody?
Yeah, I'm expecting some of the Wounded Warriors to be there. I don't have a real strong commitment there, but anyway, hopefully they'll be there and have a presence there. And one of the guys that does river guides for them is going to come with his boat and all his gear. I'm really hoping he shows up, because it'll be there's a lot of people that veterans that have no idea that they have access to some of these privileges. But anyway, hopefully we'll see him as well. And the Boy Scouts are also going to do our color guard for the 8:45 opening ceremony.
I tell you, that's things like that they teach our youth. I was reminded when you mentioned the color guards here with the Boy Scouts going to be there for that the junior ROTC from the high school, they were up at Gum Creek Cemetery on Memorial Day, and they did the color guards there. And they had a guy there to play taps on the bugle. I'll tell you, it was quite an interesting day. But it's to get our youth involved and let them know that there's more to life than some of that stuff that's out there. And we want
texting.
Texting, what is that? I thought that was just the other side of Louisiana.
Yeah, well, you know, the kids don't have the corner market on texting now. I notice your brother's doing it right as we speak. You know.
Yeah, he's not paying much attention to us. He said we're checking time. We've got 5 more minutes, but I'm telling you, with two people that love to talk like you and I, 5 minutes will pass by in a hurry.
Oh, good Lord, have mercy! I won't get a chance.
5 minutes, you can't even get very much more gray hair to turn. In that period of time, I won't have any hair to turn. Mine turned loose.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it looks like now your waves are gone, but your beach has really grown.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, he's just getting ready for heaven. Bob said there'd be no parting there.
Right.
And I'm getting ready for heaven.
Yeah.
And I'm really getting ready for seriousness, getting ready for heaven.
Yeah.
It's going to be a grand and glorious day.
Absolutely. We
want to thank Mayor Campbell for being here with us today and telling us about Lake Fest and some of the things that's happening in our community. I did notice that the beautification of the area, our highways and our streets and all, are well maintained. And if you don't keep your grass cut, the code enforcement officer will come by and write you a little citation, let you know to keep it. But it's something that's really looking nice. The ARC Association is keeping the medians. Are they doing the medians on the highway?
And we may need a public outcry because the state's cutting that funding in half, and so we might really need to get some of the public to help us reach out to some of the powers that be and getting the funding for that, because they have done a phenomenal job, and we don't want it to, anything demise at all.
You know, it's amazing how many things are out there. You know, you see road signs that said this track. What do they call that when they take a mile of the highway and keep it clean? What do they call
adoption?
That? Yeah, adopted this particular part of keeping our highways clean and all in our area. We have to come up with innovative ideas to keep it. This thing just doesn't happen. You know, that grass that you see cut out there just didn't happen. Someone had to take the initiative to make sure that it was done. We might complain sometimes, and Lord, I'm one of the complainers sometimes about taxes, but I'll tell you that it takes money to make things happen and to keep this area beautiful and to keep these cars coming up and down the highway.
Now, let me give them the website.
I didn't know. I wouldn't want to put you on the spot, but I knew you had that information stored up there.
The website, DefuniakSpringsLakeFest.com. DefuniakSpringsLakeFest.com. You'll get all the information you need. We want to thank Bob Campbell, the mayor of Defuniak Springs, for being a part of our program this morning, and we want to thank Polar Caps for being our sponsor. Next week, we'll be coming back to you live, and we're probably going to tell a little bit more about Lake Fest next week when we come back. And we want to thank Genesis Automotive. You can call them at the number that's there on your that was on your screen at 892-9145. And we want to thank Polar Cap for being a part of our program today. God bless you, and you have a good day. On that computer, buddy. We got to get us a little bit better time.